everyone, we're the Dwarven Tavern, and we are here to review Bears by Fireside Games. It's a simple game based around all the players rolling dice to escape bears, or shoot bears. Save yourself from the bears.
So this game is 20 minutes long, give or take, depending on how many players there are. It is 2 to 4 players, and it is 7 and up, because these are dice. They're very small and can be swallowed by younger children.
It's definitely a game that's suited towards the younger audience. A good family game, but not really an adult game, not game.
Yeah. I think this would be a very fun game for, like, if you need to kill time or you're waiting on other party members to join you or whatever. So how do you play this game? Well, you get 5 dice per player of the player dice. Then you get 5 dice per player of campsite dice, because this is the campsite. So since there are 2 of us, there are 10 campsite dice. You take these dice, and as you can see, they have tents and bears on them. So what you do is you roll those, and that is the campsite. Then each player takes their individual dice and they roll them. So at that point, each player looks at their dice and correlate it with the dice of the campsite.
Each die will line up with a symbol with theirs. So what you want to do is pair your die with the campsite dice. So like this one's a gun. I'm going to pair the bear with the gun, and that counts as a point. The sleeping bag is for you to sleep peacefully away from bears, and you'll pair that with your tent die.
Another one that you pair is the running man, and you pair that with a tent because you're trying to escape the inevitable doom that lay before you if there are bears around. Other pairings that are not counted, for example, would be the running man with the bear, because you don't want that bear chasing you, and then you also don't want to shoot your tent. So that would be a bad thing. These are pairs that count against you later on. Other ways to score are if you don't have any pairings with your dice, then they are not counted. If you have a sleeping bag and a tent, and there are still bears left in the campsite, that is a big no-no, and you will have that counted against you. Lastly, if you have a bear find you sleeping away in your tent, chances are you're gonna get munched, and that's a bad thing, so that's an invalid pairing also. If there are no tents left in the campsite and there are bears, and you have a tent and a sleeping bag, that is actually 2 points deducted from your individual score.
Right, so you can actually end a round have a negative score. It's a fast-paced game. Both players roll their black dice at the same time. Then both players are going in the middle trying to mix stuff, match stuff up. As soon as the last bear is removed from the center, that player yells bears, and then that stops the
collection
stops
of the
round, basically. Yeah. And then you go to scoring. So for scoring, it is 1 point for a shotgun and a bear, 2 points for a running man in a tent. For the sleeping bag in the tent, that will also be 1 point. But if there are tents in the campsite like this, that'll be 5 points. If you have a sleeping bag and a tent and bears in the campsite, then that is negative 2 points. So like I said, it is possible to score negative points. It's also possible to score 1 point or no points for a round as well. Player dice that are not paired at the end of the round are not scored. Camp dice in a player's possessions that are not paired or are an invalid pair result in subtracting 1 point for each such die. If you have an invalid pairing, then that's negative 1 point as well. It is possible to score a total score to be less than 0.
So this game is really fast-paced. It's really simple. It took us like not even 5 minutes to learn it. There's 0 learning curve, and I was kind of surprised at how fun it was for being as simple as it is. However, with the rules being as simple as they are, I feel like that led to a little bit of confusion. For example, it says that the sleeping bag in the tent plus tents left in the campsite equals 5 points. Is that for every single tent and campsite? Because could you have multiple pairings of that? Does that mean that you can get like 15?
Right, 15, 20 points.
Right, in one round, possibly. That could probably make the game go a lot faster. Or is it, do you get 5 points for every tent that's left in the campsite? Another part that we had issue with was that the end score is 100 points. And if you're scoring 3 and 5 and 7 points around, then it could take a while to get to that end score.
Yeah, that end score just seems kind of needlessly high.
It's also arbitrary.
Just kind of delaying the game as long as possible. Yeah, it's arbitrary. You can play with, I would say, 30 points.
Yeah.
At most.
Yeah, maybe 20 points, because this is a very fast game, and you could make it into rounds instead of doing it to 100 points.
Yeah. There's actually another alternative play called I don't have to outrun the bear, I just have to outrun you. In this version, players pair only runners and tents. At the end of each round, the player with the fewest pair is out. Remove 5 camp dice each time a player is taken out. So that's just kind of a who can outrun the bear the fastest kind of game.
Yeah, and that's obviously made for made for the maximum of 4 people to play the game.
Right.
So this is a very simple game. I think it would be very fun to play with younger children if you are waiting on, a different game to start. But I'm honestly, I'm not really that impressed, so I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 axes.
Yeah, I agree. I think 3 out of 5 is fair enough. It's a quick game. It's made for children. I think that's fair. 3 out of 5.
So that means that this gets a 3 out of 5 axes from the Dwarven Tavern officially. You can get it yourself and check it out and, see if that is a correct and accurate scoring. You can go to firesidegames.com for your own copy and check out our playlist for Fireside Games. That's something that we're going to start doing, is making playlists for these wonderful, wonderful companies for you to check out more stuff by them, so you can see if we are playing favorites or not. So, with that said, I am Lyric.
And I'm Josh.
And we wish for you to want for nothing but adventure. And at first I feared it, then I charged. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Let the